The Jamie Dyer Show.
Hi there, you're tuned to The Jamie Dyer Show. I am, of course, Jamie Dyer, and we have on the phone Amanda Shaw. Hello, Amanda.
Hiya, Jamie. How's it going?
Yeah, it's very well, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. Thanks for having me in for the interview.
Yeah, and for those people who aren't familiar with your work, how can you describe your music?
Well, because I'm a singer-songwriter, so I'd say I'll start with my influences. I've been very influenced by people like sort of Lucy Silvers and Delta Goodrem, those kind of writers, and so I really sort of, the thing is to have a listen to it and see what you think of it, and and take it from there. People can form their own opinions from there, really. So yeah, but I've actually I'm recording an album at the moment, so the idea basically is February I'm going up to Manchester to A Star Studios to go and do this album, it's I'm really looking forward to doing that. I'd say I'd love you to have a listen to some of the tracks, so I've given you two, haven't I?
Yeah.
Just for our listeners to have a listen to. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you say that you're recording an album. Would you say you were a studio recording artist or a live performer? Which one's more natural?
It's interesting you say that, because a lot of the time people have said that they like what I do live, but the thing is trying to get that in a studio atmosphere, trying to get that sort of live feeling. I'm both, really. I love performing live. Always enjoyed that, and I'm going to be doing that in Brighton and sort of around the southeast area to begin with, and then hopefully going a bit further afield with it. But yeah, no, I love being in the studio, obviously recording the tracks, and it's actually, for me, it's good to have both. To do both rather than sort of just one. I mean, actually, one artist who I looked at some time back who was really into just recording in the studio was Kate Bush. She literally did one performance and then that was it. So I mean, and that worked for her. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? That it works for some, not so much for others. But
yeah, I mean, when you're on stage or in the studio, do you play any of the instrumental accompaniment with your vocals?
Yeah, I usually play piano, so it's usually sort of piano and vocal. I've also just started working with a drummer, guitar, bass, backing vocals. So that should give it a much more full sound, which would be great. But no, there is a lot to be said for just kind of keeping it simple, and just doing, as you say, just sticking sort of piano and vocal. And actually another thing I think is great in performance is strings, like, piano and just sort of some basic strings parts as well. But yeah, so it's just sort of, getting that live performance moving really now.
Yeah, I mean, are you, I know that some artists, they go into the industry and they're not trained as such with like piano or anything. They just sort of learn by ear. Would you say you were more theory based? Would you say that you've been taught, or have you just sort of sat down and said, I'm going to learn this?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, I'm much more of a by ear person. I'm not. I think I've listened to some people who are quite sort of really theoretical with it, and the thing is you could be too analytical with it and of course not let the music sort of flow through you. So I think it's important to be very sort of free with it, and I love that. I love to just play by ear, and I often, if I've got a song I'm composing in my head, I think, right, get there at the piano and start sort of working out some chords and stuff, I love to do that. I love to play by ear, and always done it that way round. So
yeah. And have you had any singing training? Because obviously in your recordings you sing extremely high, for
I because I've done quite a lot of classical training and stuff. Yeah, I have probably got slightly higher range. I wouldn't say that I'm sort of like some artists which have got that lower belt sort of chest register range. That's where their vocal tends to sit. I think mine kind of sits a bit higher up, but yeah. So it's but it's what makes you unique as an artist, I suppose, isn't it? It's what what you like to, how you want your music to sound, and yeah.
Yeah, and when obviously you know how much you can sing or what you can sing, and how do you go about writing material? How does the songwriting process flow for you?
For me, I like to. I mean, as I say, I'll hear some sort of a melody that I think, yeah, that's always the place I will start. I might sort of start by sitting at the piano and just kind of, trying out a few different melodies,
Yeah.
And then just putting some chords to it, and then yeah, the lyrics sort of, they start to come through as well. So and it's always kind of by the mood of the song, isn't it? And it's all, you just have to kind of integrate everything together. But so I mean, actually, in the studio in Manchester last time, what happened was the guy that I'm writing with, Andy Ross, he actually did the music. He wrote the music.
Yeah.
And I basically wrote like the top line melody and the lyrics. So it depends how it works, really. You can collaborate, or just try and sort of integrate it together, really. But it's just a great creative thing to do, really, isn't it? So
yeah. Songwriting is a very creative process, and usually, with any kind of writing, usually biographical bits come out. Would you say some of your lyrics are biographical?
Yeah, definitely. It's a bad subject to touch upon that. No, but yeah, it's good to. It's actually really a good feeling to kind of write about stuff that's going on in your life, because I think everyone relates to it. I think that's the thing with songwriting. You've got to write stuff that is universal, and things that other people will relate to. Yeah, certainly, there's things that happen in life and you think, it comes out as a song, and it's actually quite a healing thing to be able to get the song out.
Yeah.
And it's yeah.
Yeah, and how do you go about sort of covering other people's material as well? Because obviously when you're live, you wouldn't do an all original set. I know a lot of bands I speak to, or a lot of artists I speak to, say, well, we want to do covers first, and then we'll put our original songs in between, just to see, if they like it or not, kind of thing.
In a live performance situation, you mean? Or yeah, I think it's really important to do some covers as well, but I really do think, do it in your own style. Just come up with something a bit different, really. It is important because it relates to the audience. I think if you just do your own stuff, people kind of don't know about it. So, it's kind of difficult for them to really relate, I think it's important as well to sort of tell the story behind the song, and the sort of mood that you were in when you wrote it, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that people can, it just sort of draws the audience in a bit more, doesn't it? I suppose in a live performance situation, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, are there any covers where you've that you've wanted to try out and perhaps thought, well, no, that's not really for my audience, or?
Not really. I mean, I actually love Nothing Else Matters. Love that song. I've done like a cover of that, and Ain't No Sunshine. Like the sort of some of the older classics as well, which I think are a lot easier to just put into your own style. Ain't No Sunshine is fantastic because you can just, it's like such a soul kind of a track. So it's like, you can, you really use your vocal and stuff, which is great. But yeah, it's all experimenting and it's all trying different things. There's just too many great songs out there to pick from, really, isn't there?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a wide range of music out there. I mean, a lot of people sort of say that they prefer going from the older music, perhaps 60s, 70s, 80s, rather than the stuff now. Would you what would you say kind of inspires you?
What inspires me? Gosh, I love the old soul classics. I love all that. I mean, they just back to like the Motown. I loved all that. It's not. I mean, when it comes to what inspires my music, I love people like Enya. I think that she is just amazing. The way that she puts her music together and like the creative, just the creative way that she does it.
Yeah.
There's so much to it, and also I think she layers it. That's what she does. It's like, you've got strings parts, you've got, like bits of piano, or and the vocals, the layering of the harmonies in the vocals as well, and the atmospheric. I love film music as well. That's the other thing. I just think it is, it can sort of take you to a different place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Particularly when it's obviously got the visual in front of it. Like, for example, like Lord of the Rings was amazing. The actual music behind that, it's just so inspirational. It's, even Irish music, when you listen to the Irish whistle and, that some of that music is fantastic. The Riverdance music, that really inspires me because it just, it captivates your attention, doesn't it? It is, I don't know, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us more about your album. How many tracks? How are you working on it? That kind of thing.
Well, I've got 4 tracks down so far. Two of which you've got there, I think. So probably gonna have a play of those. And I mean, like the first track that we did, it was called Living the Dream, and it's very different from the other tracks because I think the other tracks are quite sort of laid back. They're quite the kind of thing you just listen to in the evening or whatever. That, do you know what I mean? It's got that sort of feeling about it. But that one's just like, it's quite rocky. It's got quite a rocky feel about it, I think. So the other 6 tracks, I'm writing with a few different people. There's Maggie K. Demond from, she actually was had a hit in the 80s with a band called Scarlet Fantastic. So she's an amazing writer. She's really brilliant. So I'm co-writing with her for the other 6 tracks, plus Andy Ross at the studios. So it's, so really these tracks are all kind of collaborations more than anything. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to completing them, really, and sort of getting it all done, because it's like been my dream, and so.
Yeah, I mean, where's it gonna be sold, the album? Is it gonna be like on iTunes, or just or just sort of given out at gigs kind of thing, or?
It's gonna be a mixture. It will be available on iTunes and on digital download. So yeah, there's that, and then through things like Reverb Nation. Can I do a shameless plug?
Yep, you can do a shameless plug if you want to.
It's at www.reverbnation.com /Amanda Shaw Music. I know, I did this in my last interview. I said, "Oh, do you mind me doing a shameless plug?" And they were like, "Oh, go on then, all right." So yeah, but basically, I'll have tracks up through that, and I've got lots of links on there as well to other ways you can get hold of my music. So there's that, and then I'm actually getting some CDs cut as well, so they'll be available at gigs, and also Amazon. I'm hoping to get some sold through Amazon as well, like some hard copies, so that people can get hold of those quite easily online as well.
I mean, it's good that you're going down the CD route as well, because a lot of people have kind of abandoned the CD, but I know some of the older listeners think, well, it's in your hand, it's there, kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that to me. They're like, don't just do it digitally, because actually, it's more credible to have a copy in your hand, and and actually, before all this came about, digital and that, and you had the hard copies and the actual like the artwork and everything, it just felt nice to have that, didn't it? And and I think I've got lots of ideas for that, so and hopefully put something else in there, like perhaps a video or something that people can have a look at as well. So
no, that's good. That's good. That's good. Carry on. You're doing your plugging.
So it's kind of, I mean, really and honestly, it's just about getting everything together now. I've actually just set up a campaign with Pledge Music as well, to do like a music video as well, so there'll be more on that anyway. I'll have all that online. It's, I mean, Pledge Music are really good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have sort of merchandise and things available as well, for people to get hold of, and obviously when this CD is out, then I will I'll let everyone know about it, and I mean, what's been the response to some of the music that you've put out already? What have people said? I've had really good response from it, actually. It's brilliant. I mean, there was actually a song that I did before I started recording with the studio. I did a song with T2 Productions, because I'm actually working with Juice Promotions and Management as well, who are really good with sort of, they actually have a lot of radio shows and stuff that they plug music through as well. And so he's sort of, I've completely lost what I'm saying now. He's kind of gotten hold of, my music and put it out there. But it's kind of a gradual process, and I suppose you just take it from every angle, really, as many angles as you can. Because nowadays the thing is with music is that there's so many ways of going about it, and I think it can be a bit overwhelming for artists, actually, to know sort of like where to start. But it's been a good response, certainly. These tracks that I've put out as well, it's been I think the overall response is that I now have a sound. I now have, having worked with A-Star in Manchester, it's like I've got a sound now, which perhaps, some producers don't always do. They don't sort of give you a sound. They tend to just sort of, record your tracks for you, and then you've got some great tracks, but not necessarily a distinctive sound as an artist. So, yeah.
No, and how would you describe the distinctive sound?
Okay. I think, to me, it's, I don't know, it's very hard to kind of to say that, because I think that's very much personal to the people that listen to it. It is, though. I mean, because they will, everyone formulates their own opinions about music, don't they? So for me, I think, it kind of fits in with like sort of easy listening, or I like, that sort of timeless thing. You get music and you just think, it's timeless. It's not like, music of the moment, but it's got something about it that, I'd always come back to or something. So that would be the ultimate aim, to have music that was like that, really. Yeah,
something that you could listen to in 10 years' time and think, oh, that was recorded yesterday, kind of thing. something that.
Yeah. I know I actually said this in the last interview, but Rumour, the artist Rumour, because she's sort of got that whole sort of timeless feel about her music. And when you look at the photos and just the overall impression that she puts across as an artist, she's got that sort of sense of just timelessness,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and speaking of timelessness, where would you like to see, where would you like to go in the future with the music?
I think to me, it's all a step-by-step process. So if I can sort of get this album done, and then it's kind of the next step would be, get out there doing some decent gigs and things. I mean, if I could do a tour, I would absolutely love that, like a European tour or something. That would be a great goal achieved, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've got so many ideas of things that I'd love to do. I mean, I actually met with a producer the other day who's fantastic. He's written for BBC and ITV and things and musicals, and I absolutely love the idea of sort of writing a couple of tracks for musicals, and and so I know it's quite these are sort of like my further aims, but even like, as I said, writing for sort of film music and stuff, I'd love to be involved in perhaps layering down some vocals for that, or someone else gave me the idea of sort of taking some more sort of club music and putting some like classical vocals over that, so just I mean, the thing is that if you enjoy it, I think nowadays it's unlimited, it's not like you have to be like a set thing, it's like it used to be. I think if you enjoy it and you want to do it, then you've kind of got to just pursue it and try things out, really. So that's the beauty of being an independent artist, I suppose, really.
Yeah, you're not kind of tied to what the label says or what they want to do. You can kind of go in any direction you want to because it's your decision.
Yeah, you can do what you want to do. It's that's the only thing. If you are under a label, I suppose you are very much tied to what they want, what they want you to do. So, but hey, I'm not opposed to the idea. Right. Anyway.
Yeah. What was the album called?
It's going to be called Wake Up Reality, because that, it's one of the sort of key lyrics that I've written. So, yeah, I like the idea of that because I just think, you're sort of waking up to reality and what, and it's all to do with sort of living the dream and, really sort of, enjoying doing my music, and that's kind of the theme of the album, really. But that will become a lot clearer, I think, as the rest of the tracks are written, and just being creative with it, really, more than anything. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope it all goes well for you, and I hope you get to do everything that you want to do, and that the album is a success for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for chatting with me and having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem. It's it's a pleasure to have different artists from different walks of life on the show.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing to do as well, and I think there's a lot of unsigned radio shows now, isn't there? Unsigned artists, looking to sort of be on radio, get exposure through it and things. So.
Oh yeah, there is. I mean, I'm not predominantly unsigned. I'm kind of anywhere. Anything goes kind of thing. You never know what you're going to get kind of thing.
That's right, absolutely. So, but thank you though. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.
The Jamie Dyer Show.